What's up, you guys, and welcome back to Toxic Tay with your favorite homegirl, The Taylor Made. Happy Upload Wednesday. Hope that y'all week is going great. You know what I'm saying? Mine is going good. It's smooth. And, your girl been a little productive this week, and as an adult, that's a 10 out of 10 feeling. I'm not even going to hold y'all. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. So while this is Toxic Tay, this is, the platform for growth, healing, accountability, self-love, finding the better in your life, inviting abundance in, letting God show up and show out in your life. At that same time, why so many good and great things we like to acknowledge about ourselves, we like to work within ourselves. We also sometimes, we got a couple problems. We got a few toxic traits. Sometimes toxic Tay is toxic Tay. You feel me? And so definitely this episode is about those toxic traits and really learning how to hold on into them. Yeah, hold on into them. I don't know, kept coming out, it didn't sound like what I was trying to say, so I had to say it a couple times to make sure that was it. But yeah, holding on into your goddamn on toxic traits, that's what we're talking about today. And I feel like, I want to touch on this because while I've been having conversations about letting go and inviting abundance in and whatnot, at that same time, while we are letting go in order to get more, because letting go, a lot of the times, having problems in life, having insecurities, shortcomings, those aren't always toxic traits. It's not so much, I want to say, the feeling that is toxic, but the behavior that comes from the feeling that makes things toxic. And I can't speak for y'all, but I know for me, it was a good portion of my journey with myself and my growth and healing was centered around, identifying problems, figuring out how to fix and change problems. And what you tend to find is problems and peoples go hand in hand. And so, I spend a lot of my time, trying to sort through my feelings with people. Let me find the right group of people, the right friends and stuff that's for me. Let me go with this, relationship and whatnot, so I can invite this relationship in. Let me remove myself from this job or this career path because I feel like God is calling me to this one and that one. And while it was beautiful and great, in a sense, I definitely, was experiencing, the growth isn't linear, working on my self-elevation. I was finding, the good in things. I was allowing abundance of stuff to come in. What I started to realize was even as things were getting better, I still was finding myself in that spin cycle sometimes, still finding myself dealing with certain things and issues, things I felt like, I've grown past this problem. I healed past this problem. This isn't a problem or issue for me anymore. But what I started to realize was, while I was eliminating problems in my life, out of my life, at that same time, I wasn't also 100% modifying the corrective behaviors that were creating those problems. And for me, one of my biggest, I would say, toxic traits that I have with myself is I'm definitely it's not what you say, it's how you say it type person. And even though I have grown tremendously in my ability to better articulate myself and get my feelings off, what I'm saying, I still have been struggling with the letting go aspect, because it's okay, you're good, yes, sis, communication is good and great, but at that same time, beating a dead horse is detrimental. Cussing them out and then trying to beat their head in with it, it's still worse. Even if you just draw it out and make it a hell of a lot more wordier, it's still not good. We definitely got to work on that. And I start asking myself, okay, I'm not cussing people out, but I still find myself, having relationships where I feel like we have conflict when I'm trying to set boundaries and whatnot. Why they still getting offended? Why they still getting mad at me? When all I'm trying to do is do better for myself. And it's homegirl, sis, that's because, you keep repeating yourself. And what I started to realize, okay, well, why I keep repeating myself? I'm not doing nothing but enforcing boundaries. Let's go a little bit deeper. Why you keep having to force boundaries? Because they keep doing this, they keep doing that. Okay, if they keep doing this and they keep doing that, let's think about this in the way we should be thinking about it. Okay, sis, you know what I'm saying? Also, former people pleaser. It's alrighty. We're taking the mindfulness and consideration, accountability within ourselves for how we say things, and we're making sure that we're articulating, expressing ourselves in ways that are not being condescending, not being attacking people and stuff, not putting them down. And I don't even want to say putting people down, but just being kind of mean when you say stuff. And it wasn't I would say I was a mean person, but it was just one of them. I was one of them people what I'm saying, if you piss me off, I was going to show you that I had a reason to be pissed off. And it's two wrongs don't make a right. But nonetheless, it's okay, you being accountable within yourself. And and you working on your words. Yet at that same time, you still having these issues in this relationship or these relationships. And so I started to see, like, girl, that's because at the core of it, deep down inside of it, like, you still partaking in people pleasing behavior. You still partaking in, to a degree, you know, behavior trying to force and keep people here that don't need to be here. You still partaking in behaviors that lead to you not being able to let go. And it's just like, you know, when I really started to break it down like that and look at myself, you know, as not just trying to fix the problem, the things that I had, but really correcting my behavior. Like, and that is such a hard and tough thing to do, because it is so easy to, you know, comfort ourselves and feeling like we are making changes, we are doing what we're supposed to do. Because for real, like, you know, getting the wrong things off from around you, like, that is, you know, very beneficial and conducive to the process. But getting the wrong things out of you is even more imperative and conducive to the process. But it's harder to do. It's real hard to go within. And I think sometimes, you know, when we do go within, we have to make sure that we're going deep within. You know, we're not just keeping that thing surface level with us, which I feel like it gets surface level, you know, when we want to stop at the, okay, well, you know, it's calm waters right now. I'm comfortable where I'm at. I like where I'm at. That's why a lot of my podcast episodes are focused around, you know, getting out of and resisting and fighting, you know, that comfortability that you want to get in life, when you do start to see the better. Because what you don't want to do and stuff is that, you know, because your external is becoming a little bit more comfortable and stuff, that you allow your internal to get comfortable and stuff too. You stop pushing yourself to grow, stop pushing yourself to learn yourself. And even, you know, it was me and small things too, just realizing, like, you know, aside from, you know, constantly repeating myself and trying to use it, oh, I'm trying to healthily communicate, I'm trying to set boundaries, I also started to realize, like, you know, that was causing a lot of confusion and frustration within myself, which then was creating me to have insecurities. Now, look, we getting back into other toxic traits with ourselves. What do you do when you start feeling insecure? We start wasting our time. We start lacking self-discipline. We start participating in relationships we don't need to participate in. Why? Because we're trying to make them insecurities go away. The whole time, that relationship ain't got nothing to do with the insecurity that you're facing. But it's more so an extension. It's more so an extension, you know, of the problems and behaviors that you keep participating in with yourself. And so it's just like really, you know, locking in with myself and understanding, like, you know, that when I say I want more, when I say I want better, like, those aren't, you know, single layered statements. They aren't things that just change overnight. They aren't things, you know, that can just be fixed by finding and gaining the right relationships, getting in, you know, the proper and correct spaces and whatnot. There are things that truly do come from within, and, you know, really just being able to go within with myself. And I want to say too, like, I don't think I've ever been, because I don't want to say this like, oh, like, you know, the gratification and involvement came from, you know, the external things. Like, no, it always has 100% started with the fact of really just, like, loving myself and being accountable for myself. But more so, you know, just being able to be honest with myself, be real, be empathetic with myself. And then even finding myself, you know, doing things like the same things, you know, I was trying to practice doing on the outside, I had to do on the inside. Stuff like letting go. And I didn't. And this is something new that I just really learned. And, you know, getting to my points about just kind of struggling, you know, with trying to figure out why I was getting back in the spin cycle, why things still happening for me the way that they were. And not that things were even happening bad, but just me still finding myself self-sabotaging sometimes. What they say sometimes meeting the same problem in different people, or the same person just in different bodies and whatnot. So it's like I really started to look at myself and I'm like, well, why are these things, you know, transpiring? Why are these things going on? If on the outside, you know, everything is going well, going great, you know, what's causing this conflict and stress on the inside? And it's like, you know, we still got some fine tuning. We still got a little bit more work that we still doing on the inside with ourselves. And I ain't gonna say it's like hard to get in that spot. I think it's hard to recognize it, because again, like, you know, when you're looking at it and it's like, I just don't want to fix the problems and stuff in my life, but I want to fix behaviors that cause these problems and whatnot. And that sometimes too, it ain't even so much as like behaviors with yourself as in things you actively doing. It's ways that you think and mindsets that's keeping you, you know, locked up and chained to things that you don't need to be locked up and chained to, that aid to you being able to stay in that spin cycle with yourself and not move forward. I mean, you know, that was small stuff, just like, you know, me, and like sometimes, y'all, I really struggle with believing I am who I am, believing that I'm doing well and accomplished for 24 years, for being a 24-year-old. And it's like a lot of the times, like, I try to tell myself that, try to affirm myself that, but, you know, I really do try to walk in a lot of humbleness with it. And that comes from, you know, me not always being as confident and as vocal with myself. Me often feeling the need to shrink myself, that where now I'm not in spaces where me shrinking myself, me not being confident, me not being vocal with myself or healthy or even, aid in my upward movement with myself. It's just like, really taking things in for, and I want to use my words right because I feel like I was talking a little fast this episode too, and I'm really working on that. But me really trying to take things in for how they are benefiting me at the time and not how they're hindering me has also been a reason as to why I've been able to better recognize, why certain things still work. It's because it's like, I'm no longer focused on problems in my life but benefits. And it's just like, when things are going well and going great and you got a little riffraff, you got, you got a little shaking in the tables. Yeah, you got to sit up with yourself sometimes, like what's going on. And that's just because we just can't ever get comfortable. You can't stop with yourself. You got to keep going. So, I know this is one of those episodes where y'all getting more of a run-on thought for me. And it's crazy because I wrote it down and I had the points here talking about, letting go and how everything starts within. Yet somehow when I started talking about it, like, I just started talking. And I 100% believe it all came together and it's gonna come out right. But for sure, I'm gonna definitely run this back, look at it, and y'all get to upload, and drop some comments below. Like the videos. I don't feel like I ever tell y'all to comment, but definitely comment, interact with me, tell me what you think. Do you feel like you find yourself in the spaces and with the thought processes that I be having? If not, hit my DMs. Let's chit chat for real. Definitely. But yeah. Thank y'all for tuning in to this episode. We'll go ahead and wrap it up because I feel like I'm done with that thought and I don't really have any other thoughts for this episode aside from that, because that's been like the meditation, the focus for this week. Is really letting go of our toxic traits within ourselves, not just correcting and fixing our problems, but really doing the work to go within to where we're able to correct habits and behaviors within ourselves that lead to us having problems, and problems that we either create or allow others to create. So for sure. I don't know who needed that, but meditate on that for the rest of your week. Alright? Maybe it's not them. Maybe it's you. Maybe it's the way you think. I don't know. Maybe it is them. Maybe it's the way they think. I don't know. Release yourself from it. But yeah, I hope that you guys have a great week. I hope y'all enjoyed this episode. And I will see y'all next week for another episode of Toxic Tay with your favorite homegirl, D. Taylor Bay. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe.